Okay, so let's jump right in. We're going to be talking about the really complex and honestly rapidly changing world of drug policy here in the US. From cannabis to psychedelics, the ground is literally shifting and it's creating some fascinating new challenges, both for people and for politics.
And that quote right there from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, it just perfectly sets the stage, doesn't it? We're about to dive into these stories about second chances, about redemption, and, the really deep conflicts that pop up when a person's past kind of clashes with their political present.
And for our first stop, we're heading down to Florida. This is where that exact conflict is playing out for a candidate running for governor. And he's having to answer for a past that, well, it doesn't quite line up with his politics today. So check this out. It's a real head scratcher. On one side, you have the personal story of Congressman Byron Donalds, a GOP candidate. Back in '97, he got arrested for selling marijuana, but he got what he calls a restart, a program that let him avoid prison. But then, you look at his policies today. He's against legalization in Florida, and he's even pushed to block sentencing reform in D.C. It's quite the contrast. And get this, for the very first time, he's actually talking about it publicly. He admitted he made some terrible decisions when he was younger and frames his life since then as a story of redemption. You can really see the tension here, right? That push and pull between someone's personal experience and their public policy. Okay, so from that very personal story, let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. Because a single decision at the federal level, and this is interesting, it was actually kicked off by President Trump, could literally unlock policy change in even the most resistant states. This is kind of like a domino effect. See, it all starts with the federal government saying, hey, let's review cannabis. That review is pushing cannabis toward what's called Schedule 3. And all of a sudden, conservative lawmakers in a place like Tennessee are looking around and seeing a political opening that just wasn't there before. And this is the key takeaway right here. For a politician like Tennessee's House Majority Leader William Lamberth, this federal move provides political cover. It solves his biggest objections. It basically gives him and other Republicans the green light to consider medical cannabis without looking like they're the ones leading the charge. The federal government is kind of de-risking the whole issue for them. What's really wild is that this isn't just a partisan thing anymore in Tennessee. You've got Republicans and Democrats basically saying the same thing. They're all looking at medical cannabis as a way to fight the opioid crisis, a natural, safe alternative to painkillers. They see it as an investment the state should have made a long, long time ago. So you might think once a state legalizes, the fight is over, right? Well, not so fast. The debate doesn't just end, it just moves into new territory. And two states, Virginia and Texas, show us exactly what those new battlegrounds look like. Over in Virginia, things have gotten really personal. We're talking about parents and their kids. A new bill is trying to make sure parents don't lose custody just for using cannabis legally. But the opposition says, whoa, wait a minute, what about the kids' safety? It's that classic conflict, right? How do you balance an adult's freedom with making sure children are protected? And then you've got Texas, where it's all about the nitty-gritty details in the regulations. And this is a classic case of one step forward, one step back. Advocates won big by getting these huge fees for businesses slashed. But at the same time, a new rule about total THC could end up making a lot of the most popular products totally illegal. A win on one front, a huge new challenge on another. Okay, but the conversation doesn't just stop at cannabis. Nope, it's already expanding and moving on to the next frontier, the therapeutic potential of psychedelics. Take a look at what's happening in Minnesota. They're considering a program for psilocybin-assisted therapy. But let me be clear, this is not a free-for-all. It's super structured, only for qualified patients, administered by licensed professionals in approved facilities. They're even talking about moving psilocybin to a lower schedule in state law, which is a huge deal. And again, we are not talking about recreational use. This is a serious three-step therapeutic process. You've got preparation with a facilitator, then the actual administration, and then, and this is so important, the integration step, where you work with professionals to make sense of the whole experience. And if you want to know just how careful they're being, look at this number. They plan to license only 20 to 50 facilitators to start. That's it. This is a super small, very controlled pilot program designed to gather data and, above all, keep people safe. So, when you put it all together, from a politician's past in Florida to a parent's rights in Virginia, all the way to the future of therapy in Minnesota, it all comes back to that one big question we started with. As we rewrite all these laws, we're doing more than just changing rules about substances. we're making these really profound decisions about redemption, about healing, and ultimately about who in our society really gets a second chance.